Hey everyone, I need your attention for 1 minute. This is not one of those ads. This is something that has changed my entire life. If you've been listening to this podcast, you know that this is all about personal development as the foundation for everything good in your life. And this podcast is now sponsored by Growth Day, which is the world's first all-in-one personal development app. I mean, oh my gosh, can you imagine having everything all in one place that you need to create the life that you want? Now you can. So if you've been struggling with your motivation, your mood, your productivity, or your purpose, you have to check this out. Growth Day helps you consciously change your life and achieve your potential. It has all the self-improvement tools, motivational classes, and life coaching all in one place. So many of us want to improve our lives, but the question is how? Where do we start? What do we use? How do you get unstuck? How do you make self-improvement stick? Well, research shows how. It's when you consistently journal, track your habits, set goals, learn from empowering mentors, and challenge yourself that you'll be happier, healthier, and more successful. But let me ask you something. Where do you actually do all of your personal development work? I have to tell you that over 300,000 people use Growth Day for a reason. It works. It's the world's #1 software for self-improvement. Growth Day has an amazing mindset journal that I absolutely love, a habit tracker, and a goal-setting system. In fact, I bet if you went to my stories this week, you probably saw me using the journaling app and telling you to do it too, because it's the first time that journaling has ever actually stuck consistently in my life because of this app. And best of all, Growth Day has live inspirational classes every single week from the world's top motivational speakers and life coaches. These are people who have impacted my life in huge ways. These are mentors who I already knew and loved. In fact, this is something that's so huge for me, you guys. I personally teach a class in Growth Day every single month, and it is one of the most fun things that I get to do, and I'd love to see you there. These classes will truly shift your life. There's always something new that you will learn. So join me and 300,000 achievers growing our lives with actual real intention. Visit growthday.com/Lori for a free trial. Yes, you can try this for free. So go to growthday.com/Lori and go live your best life. You guys, that's growthday.com/Lori. And I can't wait to see you there. In hard times, people tend to freeze. And what they need to do is take even more action, like really getting out there and looking at who is still out there pushing forward. Who can they ask to help them? What rooms can they get into that are still creating a lot of momentum?
And we're back
with another episode of He Said, She Said.
It has been a whirlwind tour. It kind of feels good to be sitting here on a rainy day in our house with nowhere to be.
Whirlwind.
Yesterday you spoke at LashCon, 1,000 people.
Yep,
Are there really 1,000 people that just do lashes?
Oh my God, there's way more than that. Are you kidding me? That's an exploding business. The beauty industry as well. It's funny, I was actually talking to a woman out in the lobby because I like to, when I get to a place, I like to kind of talk to the attendees to be like, what have you learned? Like, why did you come here? What are some of your big takeaways? And, you know, she had been in the industry for a really long time. And she said she was one of the first people to start lashing, which is what you call it.
Okay.
And
lashing out.
Lashing out, literally. And she was talking about how, like, a common theme she was hearing from the newer artists was that they believe that there are too many lash artists. Like, they go to this event and they're like, oh my God, all of these amazing women who are doing the same thing, or amazing people doing the same thing.
So scarcity kicks in.
Scarcity. And, you know, she was sitting there going, I've been doing this for so many years, and I can tell you that there is more than enough to go around. So that was one of the themes that was really talked about from stage as well throughout the weekend is this is a rising tide, and a rising tide raises all ships.
Yeah.
So it's funny because I haven't been in, you know, a room in like a big beauty conference, but it's all the same things being preached, and that also grow the industry in the same exact fears.
Same teachings different in business.
Exactly. And I just thought that was like such a cool thing to be in these. I've been in very different rooms recently where it's the same exact common fears, the same themes, and also the same things that are going to help you get to where you want to go and collapse time, work across all industries, no matter what you're in.
So, you've been to probably 5, 6, 7 business events in the last 4 weeks. I've been to 5, 6, 7 business events in the last 4 weeks. I do the same thing as you. As I talk to everybody there because I kind of like, it's how I teach. I like finding out what everyone's doing, and then I'll share that information with everybody on the show. But one of the conversations I had there was with a friend of mine, and he's got this really cool finance company that finances launches for people that do like course launches, mastermind launches, that kind of thing. And he had very little experience in that business, but he knew somebody that did. He knew he had the audience, right? He knew he had the coaches that wanted to launch things, but he didn't know the financing world. So what he did is he went and he collapsed time by going to somebody who understands that financing world. And the two of them partnered together, and he's off to the races, and they have a ton of clients right now. And his business wouldn't have come to fruition. We're talking about this in New York because that's where he's based out of. His business wouldn't have come to fruition if he hadn't gone out and found that partner to collapse time. And it's not always a partner. Sometimes it's a piece of advice. Sometimes it's someone you hire. Sometimes it is a partner. Sometimes it's a mentor. But I'm telling you, collapsing time, as I spend time in all these rooms, it's what 10% of the people are doing and what 90% of the people aren't doing, but they should be. And it reflects in the results. Lori, this is the most important thing is in a good economy, 10% of the people are making all the money and 90% are sharing kind of what's left.
Yep.
In a tough economy, 4 or 5% of the people share all the money. And then 95% of the people kind of share the scraps that are left over.
You know what's interesting? And I'm going to share how I've collapsed time recently, but it really is in hard times, people tend to freeze. And what they need to do is take even more action, like really getting out there and looking at who is still out there pushing forward. Who can they ask to help them? What rooms can they get into that are still creating a lot of momentum? And that's the scariest thing to do is to kind of like get yourself out there and double down. But you talked about this all the time throughout, with COVID was we doubled down. We were like, how do we get out there even more? How do we not freeze? Because it is the initial response that you want is to hold on to everything and to freeze. And people need a light. They need people to follow. They need people to listen to. They need hope. And you can be that person in those times.
Yeah, it's so funny because good times or bad times, the fundamentals don't change. But the oxymoron or the part that's not intuitive is in tough times. Those business fundamentals that you have to do, the shortcuts, you have to lean into them even more. And everyone leans out of them. Like you said, they're freezing. Yeah, I'm watching you do it right now. So, you're writing a book.
Yep.
And it's about to get shopped around. And I know you have very little time because you're building Light Pink right now. And you're going through something really cool with that right now, which I'll let you announce at a different date. But, despite your limited time, you couldn't pass up these book offers that were on the table. And so you found a way to collapse time.
There's a reason for that is because I'm going to use my book as a marketing tool for the product that is coming out. And it's kind of like, okay, I was thinking of the time in my life when I had the most eyes on me, which is what you want before a launch of a product. And the time in my life when that happened is when I launched a book because you're very omnipresent. You're going on podcast tours, you're going on physical tours, you're talking about it every single day. So what I'm going to do is tie the two things together. Like here's the product and here's how I did it, AKA the book. And here's kind of like the story of how you can go for it in whatever you want to do. So with that said, I was like, okay, this book is a great idea, but the first book that I wrote was a bit of a nightmare to write. And just being honest, I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't hire a lot of help. Like I allowed myself to struggle through that whole process. And I say allowed myself because I didn't really reach out and hire all the help that I could have had.
In other words, you were responsible for all the struggle.
I was choosing the struggle because I was like, okay, I want to I don't know. Did I want to do it to myself? Did I not know all the help was there? I think both. It's like I kind of wanted to go through that process and like write the book myself and do all the things myself. And also I didn't know that all of this help was out there because I didn't ask. I didn't ask the right questions. So with this book, I watched my friend have an incredible experience. She's telling me that it's so much easier. It's her first, or it's so easy. It's her first book. Like, yes, she's
the opposite of your experience.
The opposite of my experience on my first book. So I was like, okay, this is your first book. You just told me you got a great book deal and the process is going pretty well. Like, yes, she's definitely challenged, but she's like, for the most part, it's going great. And I'm like having a great life at the same time. I was like, that was not my experience. So who are you using? What did you do? She gave me all the people that she's using to write her book proposal. So she's not hardly having to do any of it.
And do the outlines. Like, give some details. What do they do?
They write the outlines. They help you literally with your entire proposal. So who is your competition out there? They gather all of that data. They help you put together your marketing plan. They are the people who are literally doing these books for huge names out there. And that's what I want. I'm like, I want the people who are selling the most and doing the best. So I'm going to go straight to them. And what I did is I hired these people and I'm literally having them help me with this entire process. And then when I start to write the book, I'm also going to have them help me write the book. So I'll get on the phone with them and explain things. I'll write out stories, but they'll go through and they'll put it all together because I struggle with more of I'm very creative, but I'm not linear. So they're going to help me put it all together in a very linear fashion. And
they're literally collapsing time for you.
They're collapsing time for me because I'm hiring the best people that I can.
Well, I see you collapsing time in two ways with one book here, so to speak, right? Kill two birds with one stone. Here's what I see. You're collapsing time on how quickly your book is coming together.
Yes.
Because instead of doing it yourself, you've went out and hired experts to do it with you. Mm-hmm. And it's going in record speed. That's the first way I see you collapsing. The second time the way I see you collapsing time, though, is you're doing this as a marketing tool to time with your launch for the cool things you're going to be doing with Light Pink. Mm-hmm. And like you said, you want all eyes on you when you launch something. And so you're going to be collapsing time for how long it takes to reach a certain point of sales for Light Pink because you're timing it with this book in which you also collapse time. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So it becomes this domino effect.
Hey, y'all, if you didn't know, Earn Your Happy is now a part of the Growth Day Podcast Network. This is so exciting to me because I have been looking for a really good home for the show for, I can't even tell you, years, literally. And now I've finally been able to come together and collaborate with other people who have incredible shows, and I want to share them with you. One of the shows is Motivation with Brendon Bouchard. And you guys, if you don't know about the beginning of my career, I literally started with Brendon Bouchard's work. It's how I launched one of my very first online courses and membership sites, was because he gives so much advice that you can integrate and implement immediately. And that's what you're going to get on the show. Not just motivation, but you're going to learn exactly how to get your stuff out in the world. And not just that, but Brendon runs in the most incredible group of humans who are really doing the thing out in the world that you want to be doing. So go check it out. Go subscribe to Motivation with Brendon Bouchard. I promise you, this is going to be one of those shows that no matter when you tune in, you're going to get value. Like, it's not one of those that you're like, God, I listened for 30 minutes and I didn't get what I wanted. Like, from the beginning, you're going to get something that changes your life or changes your business. So go check it out. Motivation with Brendon Bouchard. I know you're going to love it. I'm obsessed.
When you learn to collapse time in one area of life, that has an effect on the next area, and that affects the next area, and that affects the next area. And everything starts going so well for you, and momentum starts going for you. And this is why when we look at other people out there, right, we're looking at all these people at an event, and we say, why is this group over here killing it? And why is this group over here? They're hardworking, they're talented, they deserve to kill it, but they're really suffering. Mm-hmm. And what's the difference? the group that's killing it, they've learned how to collapse time, which then collapses time on the next thing and the next thing and the next thing, and everything starts going in their favor.
I think that looking back at my journey, looking back at your journey, looking at the people's journey right now who are struggling, I think there's a part of our ego that feels like we really, and this is totally speaking from my experience, there was a part of my ego, even with events, that was like, oh, I need to do this. I need to have the credit. I need to go through this journey. And what I wish I could go back and tell myself is the people who partner with people, whether it's events, whether it's to get a product out, you're going to grow faster. It's going to be more fun. I mean, don't get me wrong. You're probably going to go through the journey of learning how to have a partner and how to work with someone. But at the same time, what's going to happen is you're also going to have half the work. You're going to make probably 50% more money having that other person, having that person who can bring in an audience, who can bring in another skill set. So you might have a smaller slice, but it's going to be of a bigger pie. I love that saying. And I think about that all the time in my company. Like, you might personally have a smaller slice, but it's going to be of a much larger pie than you could accomplish on your own.
And it's not always a partner. Here's ways that you can collapse time. I'm just going to shoot from the hip here. Number one, partnerships sometimes. Number two, certain mentors will collapse time for you, or hiring certain coaches. Number three, hiring the right employees or the right contractors instead of trying to muscle it out yourself, right? Let's say you hired someone to write your sales copy for you instead of you trying to learn sales copy and take a whole bunch of swings at it yourself and it doesn't quite convert. Just hiring that sales copywriter, that collapses time. So, you can collapse time by hiring. You can collapse time by learning, like exchange the time that you are wasting for time learning from books and podcasts like you are right now and those types of things. That's a way to collapse time. Getting in the right rooms where people are sharing what they did. I think this is the number one way to collapse time is when you sit next to someone and you have good chemistry and you get to talking or you go and you have dinner, or you have drinks afterwards and they say, hey, listen, I heard that you're writing a book. Here's the people I used. Or, hey, I heard that you're starting a supplement company. Here's the people I used. Matter of fact, I watched this happen for so many people in my mastermind. Lori, Bridget Carroll, who started Gut Personal, the supplement line, because she was a gut health expert. She literally said, her words, not mine, that wouldn't have happened without her being in the mastermind and having people in there that said, hey, number one, you got to start your own supplement line. And number two, here's the people to help you do it. Here's how you do it. Here's the warehousing. And it started in her first year in the mastermind when it wasn't even on her radar. When she went in, she collapsed time literally. Oh my gosh, Keisha and Sina, same thing. They were in the mastermind and they always wanted to get into like short-term rentals and Airbnbs and rental properties, but they hadn't made it a priority until they met Steve in the mastermind. And all of a sudden, before you know it, I think they acquired $2.5 million worth of properties last year. So from like, hey, we should dabble in this to having a total plan and learning how to leverage and everything else is so awesome.
Even just with her event, talking about Keisha and Sina again, collapsing time by literally using our event planner that we've used for years. Like knowing that, and we just went to Keisha's first big event.
And she crushed it.
She had like 400 or 500 women. Totally crushed it. The event was amazing. Had a ton of repeat buyers who bought from the event. And truly, you guys, if the event is not great, you're not going to be able to sell tickets off the back end for the next year. Yep. And because she collapsed time and went with an event planner who was great at events and didn't muscle it out like a lot of people do, she immediately not only had more space to sell tickets for that first year, but now has that money for the next year to do that event, which may not have happened if it was a bad event.
It's literally happening for me right now. I had this idea for the peer-to-peer lending app, and that is tech is the antithesis of what I'm good at. But I collapsed time by going to Matt, my business partner, who already sold a tech company, had the tech team, said, buddy, here's the vision. Help me bring this to life. He said, let's go. This thing is on pace to launch in the end of summer, this upcoming year here. And that is a year faster than it would have happened at minimum if I didn't collapse time by going and partnering with Matt. So like I said, sometimes it's a partner, sometimes it's someone you hire, sometimes it's a service you hire, sometimes it's the mastermind that you're in and you're just exchanging ideas for free. That's my favorite one, obviously. Sometimes it is a friend who hooks you up with people who can do certain things for you. There's so many ways to collapse time, but the difference between the haves and have-nots in a good economy and bad economy, but especially right now, the difference between the haves and have-nots The happy people or the people that will struggle are the ones who learn to collaborate in one of those forms. And what's the word I'm looking for? Collapse time.
Yes. You guys, I mean, there's a million ways to do this. Masterminds, I was just even thinking I'm collapsing time by going to a workout class. We're at the gym right now. I feel like I'd kind of just flounder around and not have a plan. Like when you get into these rooms, you get a plan instead of trying to figure it out, taking that first 6 months to a year to even collect different data and learn. Like go straight to the people who are already doing it. Get your plan, start on the plan.
Yeah. I'm going to plug my mastermind here, our mastermind
Your
here.
mastermind is one of the best masterminds I've been in so many rooms, and I can say that you have so many people out in the world who are insanely successful quickly.
Well, you know why? We collapse time for them by making sure it's a really diverse room. So we don't have all the same expertise in there. We make sure we have here's an attorney and here's a tax expert and here's a copywriter and here's a Facebook ads expert and, here's a real estate expert and so we make sure it's a diverse room. That way, everything you need is in that room or one introduction way. Matter of fact, that's been our promise every single year, and every single year, everybody advances their business significantly because we collapse time by making sure who you need will be in that room, locking arms with you for that year. It's the shortcut to success. By the way, if you guys want to be in it, you have to be making $500,000 or more in your business. So you don't have to be paying yourself that, but you have to be making $500,000 a year more in sales in your business in the year that you join. So we're enrolling for 2023 right now. And matter of fact, I got 2 Zoom interviews today for it. I love these things because I get to meet new people, hear about their businesses and say, hey, you're invited in or you're not, but here's a different direction for you. And if you want to get in line to do one of these interviews, if you're going to make more than $500,000 in your business in 2023, then go to chrisharder.me/mastermind. Again, go to chrisharder.me/mastermind, hit apply, get in line, because I love having these conversations and making sure I select the perfect, diverse, talented fits for that room. It's not who makes the most money that gets in. It's not who has the biggest audience that gets in. It's who do I need in that room yet that would add to the people who are already in there? Because, over half of last year's class already renewed. So if you guys want to get in this year in 2023, spots are running out quick. It's a way to collapse time. Go to chrisharder.me/mastermind or just DM me on Instagram.
We're so grateful for you, and we will see you next week.
Thanks for listening, guys. Love and appreciate you.
Want to know a huge secret to my success? Okay, not only my success, but just about every single person that I have interviewed on this podcast who is successful has this in common. You guys, they love to journal. They capture their life lessons and what they're grateful for. But a lot of people don't keep this up consistently. And most people do know that the research shows that journaling deepens your gratitude and increases self-awareness. But did you also know that journaling decreases stress and helps you achieve your goals faster? In fact, journaling is a huge differentiator between average performers at work and high-performing people. It leads to longer-term clarity, confidence, and success. So why don't more people journal? Why didn't I journal consistently? Honestly, they don't like staring at a blank page. It's hard to carry a book around with you or a notepad, and they just don't even know what to write about, or they just forget. That's why I know that you're going to love Growth Day. It's the world's #1 system for self-improvement, and it's like all-in-one personal development in an app. And it has an awesome digital journal, and people love it. Growth Day's digital journal has hundreds of research-backed writing prompts for self-reflection, positive mindset, confidence building, and success. I use them all the time, and it makes me think in ways that I typically don't, and it makes me ask myself better questions, which we all know gets better results in our life. It even has prompts that help you develop a daily, weekly, or monthly habit of reflecting on your life and identifying areas to grow. So it's a perfect time of year to start journaling, you guys. When you sign up at Growth Day, you also get systems for habit tracking, goal setting, and scoring, and improving every area of your life. Best of all, I get to teach there too, you guys. I'm so excited. I hope that I get to see you. I teach live in Growth Day every single month with a new topic just for you. So join me there. Start your free trial at growthday.com/Lori. Hey all, I'm so excited to share with you, Earn Your Happy is now part of Growth Day Podcast Network. A bunch of us are coming together to bring more growth to the world and support shows and brands that we truly believe in. And one of my friends is also on the network, and I'd love for you to go subscribe to his show. You guys, Trent Shelton has the most incredible podcast. It's called Straight Up with Trent Shelton, and it's going to remind you that you are built for this. I have heard Trent speak in person multiple times. I've listened to his podcast a ton. He's coming on the show, and I literally cannot wait because this man just spits straight fire. It is like truth that goes to your core and makes you take action right away. If you want one of those podcasts that when you're just out on a walk, you can't help but want to start running and run through a wall in your life, this is the show to go listen to. So you guys, make sure that you go subscribe to the show, Straight Up with Trent Shelton. You're going to love it.